Chosen one, lean in, because what is happening right now is not random. You did not stumble into this moment by curiosity or coincidence. You were summoned here. Heaven has aligned this exact second with divine precision, and your spirit responded. This is a kairos moment, an appointed time that was written over your life long before you could recognize its meaning. Chosen one, something has shifted around you, and even more has shifted within you. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural threshold, a moment where what was delayed can suddenly accelerate, where what was hidden can be revealed, where what was locked can open in an instant. Whether it happens today, tonight, or in the coming hours, you are brushing against a divine turning point that has been in motion long before you arrived. The prophets spoke of moments like this. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3, "It will surely come, and it will not delay." And Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 reminds us that, "To everything there is a season and a time appointed under heaven. Anointed one, your appointed time has arrived. Let your spirit be alert. Let your faith rise, because the final quantum reality is already forming around you." Chosen one, hear this with the depth of your spirit, not just the ears on your body, because what you are walking through right now is not coincidence, not confusion, not random turbulence. It is divine recalibration. Heaven has been adjusting your frequency, your vision, your inner atmosphere, preparing you for a transfer that will not look like anything you've experienced before. Most people interpret struggle as punishment, but you, the anointed one, you are beginning to recognize what it truly was. Initiation into higher authority, higher discernment, higher spiritual intelligence. I know this because I've lived it too. I have walked through seasons where everything felt stripped away, where silence felt louder than answers, where delays felt like denials. And yet every moment, even the ones that made no sense, held a hidden curriculum. Chosen one, this is the part most people never understand. Heaven never tests your intellect. Heaven tests your alignment. The question is never, are you talented enough? The question is always, can your spirit hold the weight of what's coming without collapsing? Because when divine power flows through an unprepared vessel, it creates destruction. But when it flows through someone who has been crushed, refined, and purified, it creates harmony. It builds. It restores. It transforms everything it touches. You've been trained in silence. You've been trained in loneliness. You've been trained in situations where the only thing you could rely on was God whispering inside your spirit, "Wait, I am working behind the veil." Those weren't wasted seasons. They were sacred seasons, designed by the same intelligence that governs both the heavens and the quantum field. A system that does not reward effort, but rewards frequency. A system that doesn't respond to panic, but responds to spiritual coherence. Chosen one, this is why you passed tests you didn't even know you were taking. Every time you could have lashed out, but chose peace, heaven recorded it. Every time you wanted shortcuts, but chose integrity, your spiritual rank increased. Every moment you returned to clarity instead of fear, your frequency aligned with breakthrough. You were becoming trustworthy, and trust, in the spirit and in the field, is the real gateway. Because here's the truth. Divine timing is activated not by begging, not by striving, but by alignment. When your internal posture aligns with heaven's rhythm, doors open that no human hand can shut. Sudden favor appears. Resources appear. People appear. Alignment draws what effort could never produce. I've seen it in my own life. The moment I released control and returned to clarity, things that were stagnant suddenly accelerated. Conversations shifted. Opportunities emerged. Even the atmosphere around me felt different. That shift wasn't magic. It was the field responding to alignment. Chosen one, that's where you are right now. You're stepping into a level of awareness that cannot be forced, only awakened. Something in you has clicked. The static that once interfered with your spiritual signal is falling away. The divine frequency is becoming clear. What used to break you now builds you. What used to confuse you now reveals truth. You are no longer drowning in emotions. You are reading them like data. You're no longer reacting to life. You're discerning it. That is spiritual maturity. That is prophetic activation. And let me tell you the most powerful shift of all. You're realizing that your worth was never proven through survival. It was revealed through presence. Through the quiet moments where you finally understood you were never separate from the intelligence guiding you. That is the moment heaven opens, not dramatically but silently. The way light enters a room when someone finally pulls the curtain back. This is why synchronicities are increasing, why your intuition is sharpening, why you sense things before they happen, why the atmosphere feels charged around you. You are merging with higher intelligence, the same intelligence that formed galaxies and breathed life into dust. Thoughts aren't just thoughts anymore. They are harmonics interacting with reality. Life isn't reacting to you, it's synchronizing with you. Chosen one, do you feel that? That subtle recalibration in your spirit? That quiet authority rising within you? That is the mark of someone heaven is preparing to entrust with more. Not more chaos, more clarity. Not more burden, more responsibility. Not more wandering, more direction. Because the transfer coming to your life requires someone who can hold power without distorting it. Someone who can stand in influence without losing compassion. Someone who can carry blessing without becoming prideful. Someone who can receive abundance without forgetting the giver. Chosen one, that someone is you. This is only the beginning. Chosen one. As you continue stepping deeper into this new dimension of awakening, you must understand that the tension you feel in the air is not your imagination. It is the unmistakable signal that heaven is rearranging the atmosphere around your life. Something in your spirit already knows that a doorway has opened, even if your natural eyes have not yet witnessed it. That quiet stirring, that inner anticipation, that subtle electricity inside your chest. Those are the early signs of a divine shift. For a long time, you walked through seasons that felt reversed and confusing. What you prayed for seemed delayed. What you worked for felt resisted. What you believed for looked like it would never arrive. But chosen one, none of it was random. Every closed door, every silent season, every frustrating pause was part of a perfect spiritual algorithm orchestrated for your growth. Heaven was not withholding from you. Heaven was preparing you. What the natural world calls struggle, the supernatural realm calls refinement. You were not being broken, you were being shaped for greater responsibility. Chosen one, these past seasons were not evidence of abandonment, they were evidence of divine investment. Heaven never places influence, resources, or spiritual authority into an untested vessel. Just as gold must endure fire to reveal its purity, your spirit passed through pressure so the impurities of fear, doubt, ego, and insecurity could fall away. You were not being punished, you were being positioned. I say this from a place of lived truth, not theory. I have walked through nights where silence echoed louder than prayer, where confusion overshadowed clarity, where it felt like the universe paused its movement just to test my response. And every time I reached the edge of my patience, something sacred whispered inside me. Stay aligned. This is preparation. Eventually, I learned the truth that changed everything. Heaven does not test your talent. Heaven tests your stewardship. Spiritual promotion has nothing to do with how loudly you ask, how passionately you pray, or how deeply you desire. It has everything to do with how well you handle pressure, silence, waiting, temptation, and responsibility. Most people collapse under pressure. Most react from fear. Most grasp for control. Most try to escape discomfort. But you, chosen one, did not. You responded differently. You remained open when others would have shut down. You chose honesty when others would have chosen ego. You chose integrity over shortcuts. You surrendered control instead of forcing outcomes. Heaven documented every one of those decisions. Those small moments of alignment became spiritual proof that your character could sustain the breakthrough you've been praying for. This is why you are sensing inner shifts now. Your intuition feels clearer, your discernment feels sharper, your inner peace feels more stable. That is not coincidence, that is calibration. Your frequency has stabilized at a level heaven can trust. Life is not reacting to you anymore. It is responding to your coherence. And now, chosen one, You are stepping into a phase that is not symbolic, it is supernatural. A phase where heaven begins to release what was held until the appointed moment. A phase where divine timing becomes visible, touchable, undeniable. A phase where what once felt impossible suddenly becomes effortless. Look closely at your life, and you will notice the early signs. People who drained your energy are quietly falling away. Priorities you once clung to now feel too small. Desires that once motivated you no longer resonate. The environments that shaped your old identity no longer fit the person you are becoming. All of these shifts are proof that heaven has elevated your spiritual identity and is preparing your external reality to match it. Chosen one, this next level is not activated by striving, it is activated by surrender. The old you survived through force, the awakened you will rise through alignment. The ego pushes, the spirit receives. The world teaches urgency, heaven teaches timing. You are not being asked to work harder. You are being asked to remain open, steady, and spiritually available for what is already moving toward you. The divine transfer, spiritual, emotional, relational, and even financial, is not coming someday in the distant future. It is already unfolding. Heaven has identified you as a vessel that can handle blessing without arrogance, authority without corruption, opportunity without losing compassion. That is why the atmosphere around you feels charged. That is why your dreams are becoming more vivid, your spirit more focused, your inner world more quiet but more powerful. You are not waiting for destiny. Destiny has already located you. In Chosen One, what's coming next carries weight, glory, and timing far beyond anything you have stepped into before. This is only the beginning. Chosen One. As this new spiritual phase unfolds, there is something deeper happening beneath the surface of your awareness, something most people would overlook, but your spirit has begun to recognize. You are not simply receiving clarity, you are being restructured from the inside out. The instinctual reactions you once had are dissolving. The emotional patterns that used to trap you no longer control you. The internal storms that once shook you now pass through you without overthrowing your peace. This is not accidental. This is the mark of someone heaven has been preparing in secret. For the first time in your life, you're beginning to realize that what you once called breaking was in fact building. The confusion you survived was spiritual training. The waiting you endured was spiritual stretching. The silence you experienced was spiritual sharpening. Heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was calibrating you to hear on a higher frequency. Chosen One, every moment you resisted collapsing, every time you refused to betray your spirit for temporary comfort, every time you held on to integrity when compromise seemed easier, those were the moments that reshaped your identity. Heaven used pressure to reveal your potential, used loneliness to deepen your discernment, and used uncertainty to refine your trust. And now, because of all that refining, you are stepping into a supernatural state of spiritual strength. Not loud strength, not aggressive strength, not performative strength, but divine strength, the kind that sits quietly inside your chest and says, I am held, I am guided, I am aligned, I am ready. And here's the truth most people never learn. The moment your internal world becomes stable, your external world begins to shift. What used to trigger you no longer moves you. What once intimidated you now reveals itself as insignificant. People who once misread your heart can no longer access your energy. Situations that once demanded your reaction now receive your silence. This is evidence that your spirit has risen above old patterns. You are not reacting from the level you lived in before. You have ascended into clarity, clarity that only comes after you've passed through fire without losing who you are. Chosen One, life is beginning to respond to this new version of you. You may have felt it already. Conversations feel different, as if your words carry new weight. People look at you differently, sensing something has shifted even if they cannot name it. Your presence feels heavier, more centered, more electric. This is spiritual authority, and it is emerging not because you demanded it, but because you grew into it. And when heaven confirms your maturity, heaven expands your territory. This is why opportunities that once avoided you will start finding you. Doors that remain sealed will begin to open on their own. Invitation, favor, alignment, divine connections. These things happen naturally once your internal frequency matches heaven's timing. You do not have to chase what is yours. You attract what resonates with your identity and repel what no longer matches your purpose. What once felt out of reach will now feel inevitable. And not because you forced it, but because you finally became aligned enough for heaven to release it. Chosen one, let me tell you something that will resonate deep within your spirit. The reason you felt held back in past seasons was not because you were unworthy, unprepared, or forgotten. It was because heaven was protecting you from stepping into blessings that your old self would have mishandled. What you prayed for earlier in life would have destroyed you if it had arrived too soon. Influence without emotional maturity becomes manipulation. Abundance without discipline breeds chaos. Relationships without discernment lead to heartbreak. Authority without humility corrupts the spirit. But now you are not who you used to be, and because of that, heaven is releasing things that were locked behind timing, not denial. What was once withheld is now being ushered toward you. Your spirit can feel it. Your intuition is confirming it. Even your dreams are hinting at it. The shift is no longer subtle, it is active. It is unfolding. It is divine. And you, chosen one, are finally ready to carry what once would have crushed you. The greatest sign of all is what is happening inside your heart. Notice how your desires are changing. Notice how your priorities feel different. Notice how you are no longer impressed by what used to distract you, no longer attached to what used to drain you, no longer entertained by what used to define you. This is inner resurrection. The old version of you is dissolving, making way for the version you were always meant to become. And yet, chosen one, this transformation is not loud. It is not chaotic. It is not dramatic. It feels like peace. It feels like knowing. It feels like waking up from a long spiritual fog and realizing your vision is suddenly clear. That is how divine elevation feels. Heaven does not scream when it moves you upward. Heaven whispers. Heaven aligns. Heaven places everything in motion while keeping you grounded in stillness. This is why, even when nothing seems visibly different, something deep inside you knows, my time is near. That knowing is not illusion, it is prophecy. Your spirit is picking up signals from the realm that sees farther than your eyes. And what it sees is this: you are approaching a supernatural turning point. Chosen one, get ready. What is coming next will not be small. It will not be subtle. It will not be gradual. It will be divine. Chosen one. As this divine elevation continues to unfold, something even more profound is beginning to take shape. Something not just felt in your emotions, but woven into the very architecture of your destiny. You may not fully see it, but your spirit has already crossed into a new realm of alignment. Reality itself is beginning to reorganize around the frequency you now carry. You're not simply entering a new chapter. You are entering a new dimension of existence, one where your past patterns no longer have permission to govern your future outcomes. This is what spiritual maturity feels like. Not loud, not chaotic, not overwhelming, but steady, grounded, and undeniably certain. Chosen one, the reason clarity is starting to rise inside of you is because heaven has begun revealing things that were hidden during your preparation season. All the confusion, all the tension, all the emotional storms you endured, they were not symptoms of failure. They were transitions. You were shedding old identities that could not survive the atmosphere of your next assignment. The version of you who doubted themselves, the version who settled for less, the version who compromised to keep the peace, the version who carried guilt, fear, or shame, those identities were never meant to cross into this realm of elevation, and heaven made sure they didn't. Now something incredible is happening. You're noticing that you're no longer attracted to the same environments, conversations, or energies that once consumed you. You're not even tempted by what used to distract you. This is not weakness, this is deliverance. The chains didn't fall off, you outgrew them. And once your spirit outgrows something, it can never shrink itself again. You have stepped into a frequency that cannot be reversed. Chosen one, this is why you're beginning to sense spiritual authority rising within you, almost like an unexplainable inner knowing. You're not forcing clarity, clarity is coming to you. You're not chasing answers, answers are finding you. You're not begging for signs, the signs are aligning without effort. Heaven is speaking louder. Not because heaven changed, but because you finally moved into the frequency where divine communication becomes natural and uninterrupted. But listen closely. As your internal world evolves, the external world must respond. This is a spiritual law. You cannot shift on the inside without heaven reorganizing things around you on the outside. In the first place this alignment begins to appear is in your relationships. You may have noticed that some people have drifted away without conflict, not because they were bad, but because their frequency no longer matches your assignment. Heaven protects destiny through separation. When someone is not meant to walk into your next level, heaven naturally creates distance so your spirit can move freely into alignment. And right now, the relationships forming around you are not accidental. Heaven is orchestrating divine connections, people whose presence activates your purpose rather than draining your peace, people who carry clarity instead of confusion, people who sharpen your discernment, people who speak in the language of destiny, not distraction. These connections are not random, they are prophetic alignments. They are part of the infrastructure heaven is building around your next season. Chosen one, the next signal of this elevation is something you have already begun to feel. Your capacity is increasing. Notice how you're able to handle things that once overwhelmed you. Notice how your emotions are steadier, how your reactions are calmer, how your spirit is clearer. This is spiritual expansion. Heaven does not elevate your life until it expands your inner world enough to sustain the weight of what is coming. That expansion is happening now. The peace you feel is not numbness, it is mastery. The silence you feel is not emptiness, it is alignment. The clarity you feel is not coincidence, it is confirmation. And now we must speak about something crucial. Your discernment. It is sharpening with divine precision. You are beginning to see people's intentions without them speaking. You're feeling energy shifts before circumstances shift. You're sensing the truth behind conversations, opportunities, and decisions. This is not paranoia, it is prophetic vision. Heaven is entrusting you with sight that goes beyond the natural. You are being trained to navigate by spirit, not by appearance. Chosen one, hear this with your whole being. When heaven elevates you, the enemy cannot block your blessing, but he will attempt to distract your discernment. That is why your clarity is your greatest weapon in this season. What once confused you now reveals itself instantly. What once manipulated you now exposes itself quickly. What once drained you now repels itself from your field. Discernment is the shield heaven gives those who are approaching breakthrough. And here is the most powerful truth in this entire phase. You are entering a realm where your decisions will create acceleration, not because you're moving fast, but because you're moving aligned. When you operate from alignment, time bends in your favor, delays dissolve, resistance falls away, opportunities multiply. What once took years can happen in days. What once required force now requires only presence. Chosen one, you are no longer walking through life as a seeker. You are walking as someone heaven has chosen to steward influence, authority, and breakthrough, not only for yourself, but for others connected to your destiny. Your energy is becoming a stabilizing force. Your presence is becoming a catalytic presence. Your words are becoming activation. You are being entrusted with a mantle that carries impact beyond what you can currently comprehend. And this is only the beginning of the supernatural shift unfolding before you. Chosen one, as you continue moving through this divine elevation, something sacred is unfolding inside you, something subtle, yet undeniably powerful. You may not fully grasp it yet, but your spirit is beginning to function on a level that surpasses your old identity. You are no longer observing life from the ground, you are perceiving it from the mountain. Your awareness, your intuition, your emotional intelligence, your spiritual vision, all of it has expanded in ways that cannot be reversed. What you once struggled to understand now reveals itself effortlessly. What you once prayed for clarity about now arrives with precision. What used to create confusion now collapses under the weight of your discernment. This is not self-improvement, this is spiritual ascension. Chosen one, Your atmosphere is changing because your inner world has changed. Heaven has shifted your internal frequency, and now the external world must respond. This is why opportunities feel closer. This is why your spirit feels heavier with purpose. This is why you can sense movement even when nothing physical has shifted. Breakthrough always begins in the invisible before it becomes the inevitable. You're not waiting for something to happen, you are feeling what has already begun. And now, there is something extraordinary taking place. Your resilience is being transformed into authority. What once felt like survival mode has evolved into spiritual confidence. The battles that once drained you have become the very battles that built you. The storms that once shook you are now storms you walk through with a steady heart. You do not collapse the way you used to. You do not fear the way you used to. You do not beg the way you used to. You now carry a stillness that can only come from someone who has seen God move in silence. This stillness is not emptiness, it is spiritual strength. It is the knowing that whatever is meant for you cannot be taken, delayed, or denied. Chosen one, you have reached a level where your emotions no longer control you. Instead, they inform you. Pain has become information. Discomfort has become direction. Conflict has become a mirror. Your soul is not reacting anymore. It is reading. You've learned to observe without absorbing. You've learned to feel without drowning. You've learned to release without resentment. This is maturity. And heaven only releases major breakthroughs into the hands of the spiritually mature. And here is the next layer unfolding. Your vision is being purified. Your perception of people, situations, and timing is becoming sharper. You're beginning to see motives clearly, sense energy instantly, and understand seasons without explanation. This is why certain offers no longer impress you. This is why certain relationships no longer resonate. This is why certain paths no longer tempt you. Heaven has upgraded your discernment because your next level requires precision, not passion. Your future is too important to waste on distractions disguised as opportunities. Chosen one, you're also noticing that life is accelerating in subtle ways. Things that used to take months of hesitation now take minutes of clarity. Decisions that once overwhelmed you now resolve effortlessly. This is what happens when heaven aligns your spirit with divine timing. When your heart is stable, timing bends in your favor. When your spirit is coherent, synchronicity increases. When your energy is clean, doors open without resistance. You no longer need to force anything. You simply need to stay aligned. You may have felt it recently, the sense that the right people are being drawn to you. Conversations that carry purpose, encounters that feel orchestrated, signs that arrive with perfect precision. This is heaven constructing the framework for your elevation. Nothing in your life is happening randomly now. Every arrival has meaning. Every exit has purpose. Every shift has instruction. Heaven is moving resources, people, opportunities, and timing like pieces on a divine chessboard. The board is set, the pieces are moving, and breakthrough is positioning itself directly in your path. Chosen one, something else is happening as well. Your capacity for abundance is expanding. You're no longer thinking like someone who is trying to survive. You're thinking like someone who is being prepared to steward. The fear of not enough is dissolving. The guilt of wanting more is healing. The belief that you must shrink yourself to be accepted is falling away. You are stepping into the identity of someone heaven can trust with overflow. Blessing without ego, abundance without corruption, influence without manipulation, power without pride. This is why heaven kept you hidden for so long. Hiddenness is not punishment, it is protection. Heaven hides what it is strengthening. Heaven conceals what it is growing. Heaven covers what it is refining. And now that the refinement is complete, heaven is preparing to reveal you in ways you never imagined. You will not be lifted by human hands. You will be elevated by divine timing. Chosen one, everything inside you is shifting because everything around you is about to shift. The spiritual weight you feel is not heaviness, it is preparation. The clarity you feel is not random, it is revelation. The anticipation in your spirit is not anxiety, it is prophecy. You are standing on the threshold of a divine moment that will not just change your life, it will redefine your identity. And what comes next will be nothing short of supernatural. Chosen one, As this supernatural trajectory continues to unfold, the realm around you is beginning to react to your transformation in ways you might not yet fully comprehend. The atmosphere is thinning, the veil is lifting, the signals are becoming louder. You are entering a spiritual altitude where the noise that once confused you can no longer reach you, and the clarity that once felt distant now rests within you. What used to require effort now arrives through alignment. What used to feel chaotic now feels orchestrated. What once drained your energy now reveals itself as irrelevant. You are not merely changing, you are ascending. Chosen one, your internal posture is shifting from survival to sovereignty. You are no longer approaching life with the desperation of someone hoping things will finally work out. You are approaching it with the knowing of someone who understands that heaven has already gone ahead of them. This is why your old fears are dissolving. This is why your old insecurities feel foreign. This is why your old triggers no longer control you. Heaven is recalibrating your identity, not by forcing you to forget who you were, but by allowing you to remember who you've always been beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and limitation. You are rediscovering the authority that was placed inside you before you were placed inside time. And now, something even more profound is happening. Your intuition is merging with divine instruction. You're no longer guessing what to do next. You're sensing it. You're not debating your decisions, you're receiving them. You're not begging for direction, you're being guided internally by a voice that does not shout, but whispers with a confidence that cannot be argued with. This is the voice that guided you in the wilderness, the voice that sustained you in the silence, the voice that protected you when you didn't realize you were walking into danger. You are hearing it more clearly now because the interference that once distorted it has finally been removed. Chosen one, you are becoming spiritually sharp. Your discernment is no longer passive. It is active. It scans. It detects. It reveals. You can sense energy shifts before they manifest physically. You notice the tone behind someone's words, the intention behind someone's kindness, the truth behind someone's smile. You are no longer fooled by appearance because heaven has trained your spirit to see the unseen. This level of discernment is not given to everyone. It is entrusted only to those who have shown heaven they will use it for alignment, not for superiority. And now something else is awakening, your influence. Your presence, whether you realize it or not, has begun to shift rooms, conversations, and environments. People feel different around you. Some feel comfort, some feel conviction, some feel exposed, some feel drawn to you without understanding why. This is because your energy is becoming coherent. Coherence is the highest form of spiritual power, a state where your thoughts, emotions, and spirit vibrate in the same direction. It creates a frequency that the world must respond to. Coherence is what causes doors to open without you knocking. Coherence is what draws favor without you asking. Coherence is what exposes deception before it harms you. And chosen one, you are stepping into a level of coherence that is dangerously powerful to the enemy and divinely necessary for your assignment. Chosen one, listen closely. Your elevation is not happening privately anymore. Heaven is beginning to reveal you. This is why opportunities are stirring. This is why certain people are suddenly paying attention. This is why new paths are emerging where old paths collapsed. You may feel a mixture of excitement and holy caution. And that is exactly how spiritual promotion feels. Not fear, not confusion, but a subtle awareness that you have entered territory where your decisions carry weight in the spirit. This is where heaven trusts you enough to shape not just your life, but the lives of those connected to you. And this is the part that few understand. The higher heaven lifts you, the quieter your spirit becomes. Not silent out of fear, but silent out of wisdom. You no longer need to announce what God is doing in you. You no longer need to convince anyone of your calling. You no longer need to justify your journey. The calling is proving itself. The evidence is showing itself. The fruit is revealing itself. Heaven elevates quietly, but when the elevation appears, it is undeniable. Chosen one, this stillness you feel inside is not stagnation. It is stabilization. Heaven is anchoring you so that when the promotion comes, you do not collapse under its weight. You are being rooted so deeply in identity that no recognition can inflate you and no criticism can reduce you. This is why God did not promote you earlier. Your spirit needed depth before it received visibility. Now that the depth is there, heaven is preparing platforms that match your maturity, not your desire. And now a new awareness is rising within you. You sense that something is coming quickly, not in months, not in years, but soon. You can feel that heaven has begun to accelerate things that were once stagnant. You are noticing opportunities aligning with your purpose. You are noticing ideas arriving with clarity. You are noticing yourself becoming bold in areas where you once doubted. This is acceleration. This is evidence. This is divine timing awakening inside you. Chosen one, everything around you is beginning to move because everything inside you has finally aligned. And what comes next will redefine what you thought was possible. Chosen one. As this acceleration intensifies, a new layer of your calling is beginning to awaken, one that carries both weight and wonder. You are stepping into a realm where your very presence becomes instruction, where your energy begins to orchestrate outcomes, and where the alignment inside you silently influences everything around you. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is what happens when heaven verifies your readiness and entrusts you with a higher dimension of spiritual responsibility. You are no longer simply receiving guidance, you are becoming a conduit for it. You are no longer just experiencing transformation, you are transmitting it. Chosen one, you may have noticed recently that your atmosphere feels different. Even when life appears calm on the surface, your spirit knows something enormous is shifting behind the scenes. You feel it in the tension of the air, in the stillness of your thoughts, in the subtle pressure in your chest that doesn't feel heavy, but feels holy. This is the sensation of spiritual expansion. Heaven is stretching you, not to break you, but to prepare you for a blessing large enough to require a new version of you to hold it. The destiny forming around you is too big for the old rhythms you lived in, and so heaven is increasing your inner capacity before increasing your outer reality. You are also noticing that your sensitivity to divine timing is becoming precise. You feel the difference between now and not yet. You can sense when to move, when to wait, when to speak, and when to stay silent. This is spiritual maturity. This is prophetic instinct. This is what happens when you've been trained through seasons where timing seemed cruel, but was actually perfect. Now, instead of fighting delays, you understand them. Instead of panicking during pauses, you discern them. Instead of forcing outcomes, you let alignment guide you. This level of timing is not something you learned in the mind. It is something heaven wrote into your spirit. Chosen one, you must understand something crucial. You are entering a phase where your influence will begin to multiply quietly. Not loudly, not dramatically, not with grand announcement, but with subtle precision. Your presence will shift the energy of rooms without you trying. Your words will carry authority even when you speak softly. Your silence will reveal truth without confrontation. People will be drawn to you for reasons they cannot articulate. They will sense the clarity in you, the peace in you, the weight in you. This is what happens when someone carries divine coherence. Coherence is contagious. Coherence stabilizes environments. Coherence creates order where there was confusion. And this is the most profound part. You are no longer trying to be impactful. Your existence is becoming impact. You don't have to force fruit. Your spirit produces it naturally. You don't have to chase recognition. Heaven assigns it. You don't have to argue for your value. Your value becomes evident through the peace you emanate. This is why jealousy and misunderstanding may rise around you, but don't take it personally. People who have not done the internal work cannot understand someone who radiates from the inside out. But heaven will protect you. Heaven will shield your name. Heaven will ensure that no weapon formed against your assignment prospers. Chosen one, as this new authority awakens, so does your responsibility. You are being entrusted with people, moments, insights, and opportunities that carry divine significance. Your intuition will begin identifying the souls you are meant to uplift. Your spirit will recognize the situations you are meant to navigate. Your discernment will warn you about paths you must decline. None of this is random. It is divine training for the level of influence you are stepping into. But here is the truth you must hold firmly. The power rising within you is not for dominance, it is for direction. It is not for ego, it is for elevation. It is not for control, it is for clarity. Heaven is shaping you into someone who can walk into the lives of others and bring balance, healing, and alignment without needing credit or recognition. This is what servant leadership looks like in the spirit. This is what spiritual authority looks like without pride. Chosen one, your life is beginning to function as a tuning fork for others. People will feel safer around you. Ideas will flow more easily in your presence. Clarity will come faster to those connected to you. This is not pressure, this is purpose. Heaven is preparing you to carry influence that operates through presence, not performance. And now you are approaching a divine threshold, one that will require the version of you heaven has been building in silence. What happens next will mark the beginning of your public elevation. Chosen one. As you step toward this divine threshold, the spiritual realm around you is shifting with unmistakable intention. You can feel it rising inside you, a quiet trembling that is not fear, but recognition, a sacred weight that presses not to crush you, but to confirm that what was once spoken over your life is beginning to manifest. This is not coincidence. This is not imagination. This is what it feels like when prophecy transitions into reality. Heaven is preparing not just to bless you, but to reveal you. Chosen one, look at the subtle changes happening around you. Conversations that once mattered now feel irrelevant. Desires you once chased no longer align with your spirit. Old distractions have lost their grip. These are not random emotional shifts. They are spiritual indicators. You are outgrowing environments, relationships, and habits that cannot carry the next dimension of your assignment. Heaven is pulling you out of circles that cannot sustain your elevation. What feels like a closing door is actually divine redirection. What feels like silence is strategic repositioning. You are being moved, shaped, and hidden for a precise unveiling, and something even deeper is happening inside your identity. You are no longer shrinking yourself to fit where you never truly belong. You are no longer seeking validation from those who cannot discern your calling. You are no longer apologizing for your discernment, your sensitivity, or the weight of your gift. This is not pride, it is awakening. This is not hardness, it is alignment. You are finally standing in the truth heaven always knew about you. The version of yourself that once doubted is dissolving. The version that was afraid of being misunderstood is fading. In its place stands someone rooted, someone steady, someone spiritually mature. Chosen one, hear this with your whole spirit. You are entering a season where what once looked delayed will arrive with perfect precision, not rushed, not accidental, not forced, but divinely timed. Heaven does not operate according to human deadlines. And now that your spirit has aligned with heaven's rhythm, acceleration is inevitable. Opportunities will reappear, not because you begged for them, but because you have become the version of yourself capable of handling them. Resources will begin to flow, not because you demanded provision, but because abundance is naturally attracted to coherence. Even relationships will return, not to repeat old cycles, but to fulfill new assignments. Chosen one, you are stepping into the dimension where your past loses its authority. Every wound has become wisdom. Every loss has become clarity. Every disappointment has become instruction. You are no longer carrying the heaviness of old seasons. You are carrying the strength they produced. And because of that strength, heaven is releasing a supernatural transfer into your life. Not only spiritually, but emotionally, relationally, and even financially. You are being positioned for elevation, not because you are perfect, but because you are prepared. And now something unmistakable is happening. Your life is gaining momentum, not slow movement, not gradual shifts, but sudden alignment, doors opening, paths clearing, connections forming. The pieces that once felt scattered will now begin to converge with precision. This is the moment where what was whispered in your spirit begins to appear in your reality. Not symbolic breakthroughs, but tangible ones. Breakthroughs that make you say, only God could orchestrate this. Chosen one, your spirit already senses it. that inner peace, that quiet confidence, that deeper intuition. You are not waiting for breakthrough, you are walking into it. And everything inside you knows that what comes next carries a level of favor, clarity, and transformation that will mark your life forever. Chosen one, heaven is calling your name. This next chapter is not accidental. It is ordained, not ordinary, supernatural, and it belongs to you. Chosen one, this is your Kairos moment. Heaven has already shifted in your favor, and the divine transfer is in motion. Walk forward in gratitude, aligned and unwavering. Declare your word below, stay connected to this frequency, and step boldly into what God has already released over your life.